Listen, the reality is the boomers are going to die.
Stop looking at the boomers and saying, you did this to us, you did this to us.
Who will be the Time Person of the Year?
Greta Thunberg. 2026 resolution for women is to be more conservative.
Amen.
Every week, we are in a new location.
But if the content sucks, it sucks anyway.
Oh, this actually helps a lot.
Good evening, William.
Good evening. Wow. You get on there so much more natural than I do.
I love this environment. Welcome to episode 12.
We've approached the bed.
Yes, a little bit different kind of episode for you all today. Now, first off, we do need to address
A few allegations.
Okay, we need to address a few things. Listen, okay, for the average viewer out there, you know our podcast is called Approach the Bench, which normally has to do with the bench. We are wearing new merch.
Soon to be available in our link in the description, baby. Approach the Bench merch.
That is not true. It's actually exclusive to us so far.
Mike. It could be true.
It can be if you guys really want it. If you want Approach the Bench merch, let us know. But here's the thing. We're wearing new merch. We're out of bed for the first time.
Yeah.
And we're in Tel Aviv, which is we're told, the most gay-friendly city in all of the Middle East.
We don't have to tell them that. You know? But it is an important point. We'll maybe bring it up next week when we're talking about Israel.
We're talking about Israel, next week. And now you're kind of wondering, you clicked on this video because you're like, these guys are going to be talking, these Gen Z guys are talking about how their generation is falling behind in the new year and all the stuff with the new year. And it's like, they're in Tel Aviv, Israel too? Yes. But we had some things change up in our plans.
We did.
And that's why we're here.
And that's why we're here. Talking about the new year. Happy New Year, everyone, by the way.
Yes.
And it is a little bit of a weird episode. It's going to be tired. It's 10:30 at night here. We've been going nonstop on this long Israel trip all over the country. So now we're just cuddled up, having a conversation like two totally platonic male friends.
Okay, so best movie of 2025. We're going through rapid fire New Year's question, by the way. So we're going to talk about reflection on 2025, then we're going to get into the future of 2026.
Yeah.
What's the best movie from 2025 in your view?
Well, the highlight movie for me was going to see Hamilton in theaters with you and Rodrigo. I don't think that I actually saw a truly amazing movie in 2025. The best one that I think I saw other than Hamilton was like 28 Years Later, which is that zombie movie.
That was weird.
I liked it a lot, but I can't think of like a really stellar 2025 movie.
I would actually say Hamilton's really great. I really enjoyed it. It actually got me hooked on some of the music. But the best movie to me was Warfare. And you haven't seen it?
No.
Warfare is a fantastic piece. Okay, there's no other way of describing it. It is an A24 film covering the Iraq War, and it follows a squad of, I believe it's Navy SEALs, who go into a city in Iraq and have to hold a house, and it's literally just set in and around that house, the entire thing. And it is an immaculate piece of art. I highly recommend everyone to go see it if you're able to stomach violence. It's some intense violence. But it's a wonderful piece.
How about the worst movie you saw? Because I had one.
What was it?
Sinners.
I knew you were going to say
100%. Because I wrote it down.
Yeah.
No. Sinners is an atrocity. So Sinners came out and it was so hyped up and everyone's like, this is going to win Best Picture. This is so good. And I went to see it and it just crushed me because it just it's so anti-Christian. It's overtly anti-Christian. That's how it sets itself up. It's a super racist movie. I think it lifts up like evil parts of African culture and puts them like above Christianity. Christianity's set as this like white only oppressive.
What's the basic gist, like, really quick?
It's about vampires, allegedly.
Okay, vampires in like the old American South, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And like, there are aspects of the movie that are really clever. There's a couple good like choreography and musical scores in it, but overall it just repeats that same line that like Christianity was used by white people to oppress other cultures and erase certain identities, and I just really found it troubling how people were loving this movie.
A lot of people really love it that I know. I mean, many people just interpret art differently than we do, so it's possible that they are able to appreciate different things about it than we are. I didn't see Sinners. I avoided it because of what you said. I would say the movie that I've been most disappointed with this year was the last Mission Impossible film. And the reason for that is normally Mission Impossible is incredible. Okay. Yeah. Normally it's like you walk out of that theater and it's like, Tom Cruise, I could almost forgive you for that Scientology. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I could almost overlook it. And this time it just felt slow. It felt contrived. The AI enemy wasn't even like present. It didn't make sense. And the ending made it feel like, I don't know, it made it feel like all of the themes of Mission Impossible were completely redundant.
Yeah.
Like the idea of consequence and sacrifice and daring
There was like no consequences.
No, and like and Ethan at the end is like Ethan Hunt is just like he walks off with like the keys to the universe basically. Like he's given all the power in the world as like the one man capable of carrying it because he's supposed to be perfect apparently. And it's like, what the heck are we talking about? That movie was very disappointing.
It was very disappointing, especially because part one left so much to be desired. And part one was excellent.
Part one was pretty good. Yeah.
Part one was excellent. The one thing, that movie had an incredible sub scene. Do you remember that scene where he goes down to the sub? In part two.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
That was crazy good.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, that's cool. So we're gonna do now a rapid fire series of questions about the future, about 2026. I want you to give your first impression. Will, do not pause. Just tell me what you think immediately about each of these predictions. Okay, and then we're gonna jump into our generation and how it's falling behind.
Okay.
Okay. Ready?
Yeah.
So for 2026, remember this year it was the AI architects of the world.
Yep.
Who will be the Time Person of the Year?
Greta Thunberg.
Seriously, that's the first person that comes to your mind.
Well,
Greta Thunberg.
It's either Donald Trump, who it should be, or Greta Thunberg, who they'd pick. Has she already been Time
Donald
Person
Trump
of the Year?
was Person of the Year in 2024. I don't think they'd repeat him.
Was he really?
I mean, they could repeat him if he's really, 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 really influential.
Benjamin Netanyahu?
No, they wouldn't do him again because the war's over, all that other stuff. I think they might do... Actually, here's my
I don't know any influential
I got my guess.
Elon Musk?
I got my guess. Xi Jinping.
No.
Yes.
No, baby.
Yeah, the Chinese.
They're normalizing communism.
No. This is a long range call. Okay.
Yeah.
On them invading Taiwan in 2026. If they did that, which I'm not saying they actually will, but if they did that, it would totally put Xi up there.
So
for
Time
Person
picks like bad people too?
Yeah, they pick the person who's the most notable in the news.
Okay.
So it could be Putin too if he like nukes somebody.
Yeah.
That would be a thing as well.
Okay, so it wouldn't be Greta then at all.
Yeah, so it's not gonna be Greta.
No, it'd be
Unless
someone
the
involved
climate
in like...
activist of the world or something like that.
I mean, I don't know why it couldn't be Trump if he solved some like major conflict, like if the Ukraine war is resolved in 2026.
He should get...
If Russia, if Israel and Palestine are
This
solved
is the follow-up question.
2026.
Does he get the Nobel Peace Prize, do you think, in 2026?
No, he's never going to get the Nobel
You don't
Peace
think
Prize.
that's going to happen?
No.
Even for all the stuff, all the peace... What happens if he brokers peace in Ukraine and Russia, too?
I really don't think they're going to give it to him, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, I mean, Barack Obama, they gave it to for pulling out of Iraq.
For literally doing nothing, yeah. But I mean, I when you explain Time the way you did, that it's just the most influential person, and it could be Xi Jinping, I think that makes sense for Donald Trump, but... Nobel Peace Prize has just such an air of liberality to it, like they're never going to give it out to someone.
Honestly, I want to know what the people out there think. Do you guys believe that Donald Trump will receive the Nobel Peace Prize, as he probably deserves to, in 2026?
I think even like if you are slightly liberal or if you're even like a never Trump conservative, even hearing the name Donald Trump and Nobel Peace Prize together, like it doesn't matter what accolades you line up next to his name.
They're never going to give it to
him. They
him.
will never, ever give him.
Also,
like they only think of that man as pure evil.
Well, and also here's the other thing. There's no way that the peace plan in Gaza is going to last in the way, or is going to be actually implemented in the way they expect it to be. And that may really test.
I mean, maybe Benjamin Netanyahu just goes on another 6-day war, massive winning spree in the
and then he ends up becoming the Time Person of the Year. So maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, and the Peace Prize, because then there'd be peace in the region. That's for sure.
He's definitely not getting it.
No.
But let us know what you all think. Now we're going to go into the next one. Does the AI bubble pop? Does it pop? Does the stock market explode finally? Is there a recession?
Not in 2026.
Not in 20. So you're saying buy. Would you buy Nvidia right now?
No, I don't think I'd buy.
So, but you don't think
I think I'd hold, but I wouldn't buy and I wouldn't sell. Hold.
Okay. I will say I think it will pop in this.
In 2026. Wow.
I'm a big .com guy. I made this argument to my professor, who is like one of the most influential AI professors at the law school.
I feel like you've gotten closer to me as we've been
because I'm really trying to bring out as much energy from you as possible so we can keep moving.
Okay.
But no, I was talking to this professor, and she was saying, I compared the AI boom in the market right now to the .com bubble, and this was 2 years ago, mind you.
What a very interesting and unique comparison. It seems like that's totally new to you.
This was 2 years ago, mind you. This was 2 years ago, so I was way ahead of the curve.
Right.
And she was like, it has no similarities, all this other stuff. Nowadays, I'm kind of like, it feels like it's worse than back then.
I think it totally bears similarities to that.
Yeah, I think it has massive similarities to it. I think it might pop, but here's the funny thing about it. You don't want to miss out on the chance that it doesn't. So just stay in. If it pops, just hold.
Yeah.
Okay, do you think China invades Taiwan? I actually kind of revealed my thought process.
Yeah, I think that's a very high chance.
In 26?
Yeah. Well,
wow. Okay, but that's a big guess because
so the thing is,
26 is a huge deal geopolitically.
I think China is scared of Trump for sure.
That's what I'm saying. I think that's the biggest deterrent.
And
for
yes, potentially if the next election goes badly in 2028, maybe they'll invade. If there's a Democrat in the White House.
I mean, and the thing is, she has said repeatedly that he is going to reunite China.
Yeah.
And it is a middle finger from the Taiwanese people that they're actually that their Chinese democratic nation exists. Yeah. And on top of that, too, there's an open question as to whether or not the Taiwanese will even want to fight, whether even or not there's a willingness among them to fight.
Is there really an open question?
There is an open question about that. And so because of it,
amongst Taiwanese people?
Yeah, Taiwanese. Dude, do you know how much money they spend on defense? They spend like less than Germany now or something like that. It's like these people are under active and threat from the second most powerful nation in the world, and they still are spending like 0.5% of their GDP on defense.
Well, is that just because they're relying on the U.S. to
No,
back
it's
them?
because there's probably two reasons. One, they're just like, I think that they're just stupid. First off, they're not as invested in this. They probably don't have willingness to do it. And the second might be the philosophy that if you build up too much, it actually encourages China to invade. Right, because if you start spending a lot, right, if you say, I'm going to spend $100 billion over the next few years, when do you invade? Right now, right? So there is an aspect to that that's like maybe you have to be wise about it, but I don't think so. I think that there's a question about willingness.
Okay. I think they're probably just relying on the U.S.
Next one,
as they can and should.
That's possible. Another war here in Israel?
Nope, not in 2026.
Wow.
We're done.
The peace plan is going to work?
I think the peace plan is going to work. For
it
Gaza.
Does feel that way.
For Gaza. West Bank, as we'll get to next week, is another question.
West Bank could be different. I mean, Hezbollah is completely thrown off right now. The big open question is Syria. I think Syria, with the Al-Qaeda influence and all, I think that the regime is buddy-buddy with Trump right now, or is trying to. I mean, Trump's trying to. So they might take some time, but I think in the long run, that one's a powder keg. That's a powder keg. I don't know, for those of you who don't know, the Syrians, the new regime
we'll cover that next week. We can cover that next week.
But just like I said, as a qualifying point, though, they're Al-Qaeda connected / literally.
No, they're like former Al-Qaeda leaders.
They're literally Al-Qaeda. So those are the people who planned, by the way, 9/11. So,
and as another kind of backstory, Syria is literally a powder keg. I personally think that I believe it's an idea that I have that Syria as a nation should probably not exist, and it should be
a bunch of small,
many small.
This is actually, we were talking to somebody about how the fact that it's basically impossible to govern Syria
like
because of how many tribes there are in it.
Very complicated. It is quite a powder keg.
And this is as we were looking into Syria. We were discussing this earlier, just 2 days ago.
Yep.
Do you think that a Supreme Court justice is going to retire? And which one, if so?
I kind of do think so, probably, before Trump goes away. I mean, I'm not too vested in this conversation, but I think it would be the smart thing to do.
I mean, the two conservatives that people have eyes on are Justice Thomas, who's very old, and Justice Alito, who's very old. And we still have the Senate right now, so maybe it's wise for us to just guarantee we get a replacement.
Yeah. I mean, they would kind of have to step down before these midterms, which we're about to hit on, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I mean, the alternative is that if we get clobbered in the midterms, they just step down immediately and they replace them in the span of a month. They could do that. Democrats would be pissed, and it's kind of
they'd shout that this is
violation of norms, all this other stuff, whatever. But like, it might be the only way to replace them.
Would both of them go? Are people thinking, or just one?
I think
I'd be so sad to lose Thomas, man.
I would be sad to lose both of them. I do think that I can understand having different sympathies between the two of them. My biggest worry is I want to make sure that we retain that majority on the Supreme Court. I mean, people forget the Hobby Lobby decision was 5-4. Hobby Lobby are like, what does that matter? Hobby Lobby is a case that has to do with whether a for-profit company, but a company, generally speaking here, could be exempt from a mandate from the government to provide abortifacients to their employees via insurance. Abortifacients, whatever you call them. I don't freaking know the name.
It's okay.
But my big thing is that like that is so fundamentally opposed to my beliefs as a religious person that's really hard to engage in public life. If, as the 4 of those justices sided with the government there, 5 went with the company and were therefore safe, that said the government doesn't have to give you any religious exemption. They can just tell all the companies, all the people participating out there, hey, you got to go provide enough. You got to provide your employees the means of killing their children. And to me as a Christian, I would be unable to do that.
Sure.
And so I look at that and I'm like, we need to lock down those 2 Supreme Court seats.
That's the decision that you go to, huh?
I mean, there's a million ones, but I'm a religious liberty guy, so it's the first thing that I think about. Yeah. I mean, also like 303 Creative is another religious liberty case where it's like the government mandating that a website designer will include pro-gay marriage messaging if a gay couple comes to them and is like, hey, you should make a website for us. And I'm like, that is definitionally compelling speech. Definitionally compelling speech. And 3 of the liberal justices, the only 3 liberal justices, all sided with the government.
Yeah.
That's terrifying to me.
Yeah. Okay. Lots more we can talk about with the Supreme Court. It's kind of unideal, but
Republicans or Democrats win the midterms?
I think Democrats.
You think the Democrats, like which, like House and Senate?
Yeah.
Wow, we have a favorable Senate map though too.
Right now,
we have a favorable Senate map in terms of the numbers. Don't quote me 100%. The last time I heard, I thought that was true, but I might be wrong. Okay, listen.
Look, I think every single midterm typically goes against the incumbent president, right? It's always biased against whoever's in office, and I think Trump has done many things that have put Republicans in the hot seat, right?
Yeah,
We
yeah.
talked
And
about
everybody's
the
going to
border.
respond that way. And also the 2025 elections went massively against him. Mm-hmm. So I agree. I think he's going to get screwed.
Yeah.
Okay. So best movie of 2026. I'll list them to you.
Yeah.
Avengers: Doomsday, Spider-Man: Brand New Day,
Nope.
The Odyssey.
Maybe.
Yeah, Dune: Messiah,
Maybe.
Super Mario Galaxy movie.
Absolutely not. Don't watch that if you're above 14 years old.
What are you talking about? Super Mario Galaxy is like a classic game. You never played Super Mario Galaxy growing up?
I never did. What console was that on?
Dude, it was amazing. Wii.
Too old for me, brother. I was a Nintendo 64 guy. I was playing Super Mario 64.
You were 64? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, you are ancient. That's crazy. Okay, Moana, the live action.
No. Oh my gosh. Only if they cast a white character in Moana. Then it might. Then I
Okay.
might watch it.
No, do not. I'm not.
No, I'm just
including
saying.
it. I am not
You
including it.
blackfaced the mermaid, so might as well go whiteface on Moana.
Hunger Games: Sunrise on the Reaping.
No.
Yeah. 28 Days Later, the Bone Temple. Right?
Yeah, honestly, I'm very excited for that one because,
Really?
as I already mentioned, because Mason's not going to cut it. 28 Years Later was one of my favorite movies of 2025. I
So-
love a good zombie movie. You know, that's kind of the one horror movie that I'll watch. I
Dude,
do like zombie
only one of
movies.
these has a genuine shot. And
Odyssey.
actually, two of these have genuine shots. I've got to say Villanova.
Villanova.
Villeneuve. How do you say his name?
Oh, Villeneuve. Villanueva.
Villeneuve. I don't know how
No,
to say
they
his
say
name.
Villeneuve.
Villeneuve. I've got to say Villeneuve and Christopher Nolan are directing two of these films.
Yeah.
Those are the two that I think are.
I think
running.
Dune has so much hype behind it. I don't know if they can pull off 3 because I don't really think they pulled off 2 as well as they pulled off 1.
I disagree with that. I thought 2 was
You thought 2
immaculate.
was good?
Oh, I thought 2 was so good. Yeah, for Dune.
Interesting. I did
But
not love
that's
it
not
as
my
much.
concern. My concern is more the storyline for Messiah. I don't think it's as good as the storylines from the others. And
It's so much bigger as
Yeah.
well. It's very hard to pull off the scale.
and I say this as somebody who's yet to finish Dune Messiah. I'm actively still reading through it.
Yeah.
But the Odyssey, I think, is gonna be the best one because I mean, it's just so hyped. It's such a great storyline.
Yeah.
It's shot by Christopher Nolan. It's got Anne Hathaway.
Yeah.
It's got Matt Damon. It's got Tom Holland. Just like what a crew. Biggest political issue of the year in the U.S. Because I
How
feel
are
like,
we defining political
well,
issue?
I
Like
feel
what's
like-
on the ballot?
I feel like in
or
2024, it was like Israel-Palestine. That's what it felt like, honestly.
versus 25?
Like for a period of time, and then 2025, I don't really know what the biggest political issue is. this
ICE?
year.
Border?
ICE, immigration.
Immigration?
Immigration has been the biggest issue.
26?
26. What do you think is gonna be?
I think probably still immigration.
You think still immigration?
I think that's Trump's big thing, and that seems to be what's dominating the news. I don't see it going away.
I think it's gonna be a foreign policy issue.
Like China?
Venezuela, something like that.
Oh, like us striking them?
If we invade them or something.
Do you
like
think
that.
we're really going to do
No,
that?
I guess not.
No.
I think it's gonna be a foreign policy thing. I don't think it's gonna be immigration because that just gets old to people over time. It's just how it is. It's
Yeah.
old.
Well, I think it'll be immigration still.
Who do you think is gonna win the Super Bowl?
In 2026?
Yeah.
Oh, like this upcoming
This
one?
coming year,
Seattle Seahawks.
That's so insanely
Let's go.
stupid. That's so insanely stupid.
Who else?
The New England Patriots are gonna win the Super Bowl.
It's going to be a rematch, Seattle, New England,
Seattle,
and we are
England,
going
and
to
you guys
freaking
are
win.
gonna choose to throw yet again.
No, we're
on the
gonna
2-yard
run
line,
this time.
and you're gonna throw on the 2-yard line, and
Nope.
it's gonna get caught
No,
by Malcolm Butler.
that would be awesome though if it was a rematch, wouldn't it? That'd be pretty cool
I think it would be, but I'd feel bad for you guys
because
So-
we'd lose.
Yes, obviously.
Patriots aren't.
I know.
mean,
I'm
they're
kind of
so
joking.
good, but
they're not. They're good
not-
this year.
they're
But they're
not
not.
Super
I don't
Bowl
think they're
good.
Super Bowl good either. I'm a Patriots fan. A fan fellow that's wandering out there. Why
You
I'm
are?
defending them. Of course, yeah. My family's from New England.
Ah,
I was my entire life growing up, bro, and that's why I got the Brady era in my prime, man.
that's pretty cool.
It was a great time to grow up.
Yeah. Here's a great
Yeah,
question.
World Cup in
2026.
26.
Is Seattle going to be able to pull off an Iran-Egypt match during Gay Pride Month in Seattle? Or is FIFA going to make them stop the celebrations? Because if you didn't know, this is the irony of the left right now, taking a pro-Islam stance and also holding up LGBTQ rights. If you didn't know this, I'll just tell you really quick. Seattle is set to host Iran and Egypt. It is also Gay Pride. And
It's like their Gay Pride themed match.
and they
right?
have pitched that they will make this match Gay Pride themed, have vendors outside the stadium. Well, all of these tolerant Islamic states out there, for you lefties,
probably not excited.
have actually filed a formal petition to FIFA saying we need to stop this. We are not playing a match with this crap going on outside. So it's kind of funny. I think it's very funny, the predicament that Seattle, who probably shout Queers for Palestine at these parades, are faced with the reality of the non-Western world and level of tolerance that exists out there.
It's funny how that
It's
works.
hilarious.
Huh?
All right, everyone. So now we're going to move into still sticking with the theme of New Year's, the theme of 2026.
2026. What are we
We're gonna be talking
going
about-
into 2026 without? That's really what we're talking about.
What are we going in without, and what more broadly are people our age going into 2026 without that maybe they would have had if the year was 66 or 76.
Things have changed. Just to give you a brief idea, William here is 28.
Yes.
Okay.
As much crap as I get for being 35 and 300 pounds.
He's
I'm
actually 28.
Still 300 pounds.
If he were a boomer, in 2 years' time, at the age of 30.
What is a boomer? I think we should define that
first. A boomer is somebody who's born in the post-war baby boom. So basically, it's like 1946 to 1960 is the typical time period. It's like 1965, 1964. Right?
So our parents are not really boomers.
No, our parents are Gen X. That starts around the early 60s and goes all the way up to 80, 82 or something like that, and then it's millennials.
Yeah.
But the baby boomers, if you're a baby boomer, you at your age, in 2 years' time, you would be expected to be making as much or more than your parents did.
Yeah.
That is
a 30-year-old.
Insane factoid, okay? Social mobility in the United States has significantly declined since the baby boomer generation entered adulthood. For Americans born in the 1940s, 1950s, roughly 90% earned that much by age 30. And now that figure's fallen to 50% among millennials, and it feels like it's 15. I think it's going to get even lower. It's going to be like 8% of Gen Zers at this point. 8 to 10%.
8% from 50?
Yeah, from 90%.
No, but when was 50?
50% was millennials.
Oh, millennials.
Born in the 1980s.
And now it's 15 to 18
it's
or
gonna
79?
get down somewhere around 10% to 20%, which is a massive decline.
Yeah, even from millennials, that's pretty shocking.
Well, and so my point with bringing this up is a million other facts, but we're not going to bore you with facts because I really think that what we can offer is a perspective of young men growing up in this world who, one, were blessed with the ability to go to Harvard Law School, and that's nice and wonderful. It is a blessing from the Lord. I think it opens new doors. It gives us opportunities. But at the same time, I get to see so many of my friends struggle through the job market. I get to feel the pressures of it myself. I get to also see the emptiness on social media. I really feel inclined towards that. I feel like I'm hooked in to that vibe.
And I'm not. I don't think I am.
Yeah, that's because you're kind of
old. I don't think I am. Yeah, I just stay off social media.
That might be the reason.
And as I'll share in a little bit, I just kind of try to look at myself.
Yeah, and see, this is the issue. Let's just pause for a second here.
Okay.
At 25, what did I think I was going to be? I thought I was going to be a husband. I was going to be a father, have a kid. I thought I would be employed. Okay.
At 25?
I thought I'd be absolutely employed, and not just employed. I thought I'd be maybe famous or wealthy, or at least on a path where I felt like I was going to be in a trajectory on that path.
But you knew you were going into law school, didn't you?
I thought that I might be going to law school doing something else like that. So now let's pause and think about the things that I've had a chance of. I've got a chance on the career path. I think all that stuff is that's a blessing from the Lord.
And you are famous.
Yeah, clearly our viewership of the podcast.
I mean, we have merch, brother.
We do have merch even. We literally even have merch on the podcast. But
we should come out with
that's
stickers.
Definitely a thing. Yeah, we'll do stickers next. So that's definitely, I think that's been fulfilled. I'm not a father, as you know.
No.
I'm not a husband, as you know.
You're my husband.
Okay, no. But I don't know. I think that's a really difficult thing. I mean, I remember when we were talking with your cousin, and he mentioned that he's 35 now.
Yeah.
And he's also single. He expected to be married by 22.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm trying to communicate to older people as they are navigating the news, hearing about young people complaining, all of these like far right Gen Z rebellion things, all this stuff going on. Fundamentally, what is happening in Gen Z right now has to do with this. I will stand by this to the end of my days.
Yeah.
It is the sense that opportunity has been robbed from you. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by robbed is I think most of us feel like the system is set up to take our money, to take our opportunities, to take even our country and give it to other people at the behest of the boomers. Often the boomers.
Is there actually any truth to that though? I mean,
what do you think?
I don't really think so, but I'm just curious what the facts say.
I think the facts would be Medicare spending, Social Security spending, all that other stuff. That's half of our budget. Yeah. That's old people. Yeah. Medicare and Social Security. Yeah. Old people spending. Yeah. Immigration policy. Who does that hurt? DEI, who does that hurt? All of these policies that were pushed often by boomers as like equality, we need to be open and kind to each other. The DEI wasn't affecting
people. But young people are buying into that too. I mean,
of course young people are, but there's also, but I'm trying to explain why people are feeling like they're disenfranchised now, why they're walking away from it. It's because of the fact that there was a movement in these institutions to push policies that have fundamentally cut down that ladder, pulled the ladder away from us in our ability to scale it.
Yeah.
If this makes sense.
I agree with you on Social Security and Medicare. I think
What about immigration? Medicare. Immigration, that's something that's forwarded by the boomers often. It's something that they're bringing young people. Those young people often commute
you mean pro-immigration policy?
Take computer science. H-1Bs are almost entirely impacting, I shouldn't say almost all of them, but there's a massive impact on the computer science software engineer world, okay?
Yeah.
What is the single most unemployed degree at this point? I believe it is. It's insane. It's computer science in America. It's because boomers, I'm not kidding, it was boomers and millennials to some degree who bought into this, come along and say, learn to code, kids, learn to code. That gives you a job. It's so important to be able to do this. Also, we're going to open the floodgates to our program and bring in all these people who are going to compete for those jobs specifically at a lower wage than you can offer.
Yeah.
And you're going to take all this debt on and then have no opportunities.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before we get into housing, which is one of the bigger drivers of this that I wanted to talk about, because as much as I love Ron DeSantis, I heard of a pretty horrible piece of
the property tax thing?
Yeah, legislation that's being proposed.
They're thinking about
right
repealing property tax.
I want to talk about that a little bit because housing is a huge driver for this.
Okay.
Just on that note, right? I think part of this that we're talking about in like the crisis that Gen Z is facing is, I believe that our generation and maybe millennials as well have been too choosy. We've had the privilege of going to college. I mean, a lot of us have gone to college, probably more than boomers.
It's 60%, I believe. 55%.
Of Gen Z.
Of the Gen Z and millennials who have like gone past the college age.
Okay. That's more than boomers?
It's significantly more, yeah.
Sure. Okay. So that's something where boomers experienced quote unquote inequality compared to Gen Z. But what does that actually produce for us? I think that we've been burdened by opportunity in a sense and choice. Mason, I mean, look, not everyone's studying freaking computer science, even though the jobs are there. Not everyone's studying engineering, even though the jobs are there.
No.
I feel like the trope that I hear about Gen Z is that we've gotten to kind of like try to choose what we want. And rather than taking the job that is before us at a younger age.
This is incorrect.
Why is it incorrect?
Because you've got to understand that the economic landscape is fundamentally different than it was. So you're saying, I think it's wonderful that so many people are going to college now. This is the issue.
I'm not saying that's wonderful at all. I'm saying that the boomers just got out there and worked hard.
But the boomers had, as you said,
my
they had
grandpa
less
owned
education.
a service station. Do you think my grandpa's dream in life was to stay in Bismarck?
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's amazing.
And own a service station?
Yeah, no, I understand. I'm not saying that I disagree with the fact that we're too choosy or something like that. What I'm saying is that your initial claim was, because they went to school less frequently as opposed to us, they may have had less opportunity. I think that's incorrect.
No, that wasn't my claim.
I think, well, then why would you even care about the number of people who are going to educational institutions?
Because I wanted to say that more of us have gone to college, and yet that hasn't translated into jobs. Because I think we don't want to take the like immigrant jobs.
I do not think that's the reasoning.
I do not. Why are we having to even bring in?
I think the reason. I think the reason is this. The price for college and university has increased exponentially.
Yes, that's
at
true.
A massive rate, okay? And there's several reasons for that. Before I get into those reasons, I want to give you an idea of what it used to look like. I talked to my law professor very recently, one of my law professors, and he was telling me his story of how he paid for law school. And I was like, how'd you do it?
Sounds amazing.
He worked in a paper mill. Mm-hmm. He worked in a paper mill while at law school, and with his wages from the paper mill, paid off law school.
Yeah, sounds like Ron Swanson.
Which, like, for a second, you're pausing. You're like, how is that possible? It's like, back then, that was possible. You could work at a paper mill and attend law school at the same time and pay it all the way off. Is it possible to work a job at the same time as going to law school and, like, pay it off? Yes. Minimum wage job? Absolutely not. Was this guy's job minimum wage? No, it wasn't fully. But it still wasn't, like, an insane number kind of job. It was the fact that when the cost of tuition was so much lower, it was manageable. Now, what's caused that increase? I think, and people will get upset with me for this maybe, but I think the number one reason, and this is something that can be verified by studies, is federal student loans. The government basically said, we will cover the cost of your education regardless.
Yeah.
You don't have to prove that you're going to pay back your loan, and also the institution doesn't have to prove that they actually need that money for you to be able to take a loan out for it. And so because of that, what do the institutions do? Every year they raise rates.
Because you have guaranteed money coming in.
And it's disgusting to me. So I would say that has nothing to do with immigration, though.
Okay, my claim more so was I still don't really buy. I mean, there's nothing in even our facts. I mean, yes, that is, education has gone up a lot, but there are still jobs out there that young people don't want to take. We want a job that feels fulfilling, that satisfies some sense of calling, and those are fine things to have. I'm just saying that when I look back at our grandparents' generation, I don't see them looking at jobs that way at all, man. They just looked at like, I need to go out and make money, provide for a family. Like, I think you could be married at 25 right now. You could have a job right now if you didn't have these kind of like aspirational goals.
Okay. Let's divide this up a little bit, okay? I think that there are three major issues that we can talk about here, okay, with Gen Z. I think there's economic opportunity. Okay, that's one. I think there's the world of information, and I think that there is the dating, relationship, marriage world. I think all three of these things
are all big topics.
Are huge impactors in this discussion. Okay, we're talking about economic opportunities,
and I'm
right
focusing more on the latter two.
Yeah, you think the latter two are more important. You think information and dating are bigger than economic opportunities.
I'm just kind of using those as a counterpoint that, like, yes, the economic opportunities have gotten harder.
Yes.
But I think that part of Gen Z's problem is in those other two as well.
Okay. So
we don't date, we don't marry as quickly. We're looking for that ideal spouse. We're burdened by information in terms of like job opportunities rather than just taking a good job. We're trying to get the best job rather than just taking a good spouse from your town. We're looking for the best spouse.
Before we get like too deep into this, pause for a second here. Okay, so let me explain what I mean by these three categories. Okay, so economic opportunities, that's like the college stuff I was just talking about. That's the computer science jobs. That's immigration.
240% above inflation for annual cost of tuition.
Yes, it's that stuff.
I think we should use facts.
Yeah, these are all facts. You can check many of these things. We don't want to bore you with a bunch of this stuff. Just know that these are happening. We really want to talk more from our experience at an individual level.
I don't have any experience in this because I don't feel disenfranchised by anything.
Okay. Great, wonderful.
Sorry.
I'm very, very nice of you. I think that our generation has many blessings upon it in terms of actual economics. We'll get into this in a second. I don't want to get into
I live in the greatest country in the world.
Amen. We love America. But the second thing being information, I think social media has fundamentally changed how we interact with things. I think pornography, I think
it's always about pornography for Mason.
I talk about it a lot because I think that it actually has a bigger impact than people realize. And then the third thing is relationships, which again, I also can mention pornography for that too. But I think that the dating world has fundamentally altered in a way that makes it really hard to create a firm foundation for family. Okay. But let's pause for a second with economics. Okay. There is an aspect of the economic argument that is very persuasive against everything that I'm saying. And that is that by far, Gen Z, just as an empirical matter, is the wealthiest generation to start. Okay. And what I mean by that is that we have technology that nobody else had. We had a standard of living that nobody else had. We're able to live with our parents and live off their income and all this other stuff for a longer period of time than anyone else has been able to. Those are all wonderful benefits. And so I think it's good to frame this in the sense of not like hating on past generations as completely like not caring about us. In some ways, we've actually been the victim of
coddling
and caring too much perhaps and spoilage. Because frankly, some boomers just would throw money at us and be like, or Gen Xers would just throw money at us and be like, hey, here's the thing, go do whatever you want to do.
Here's free college, go study lesbian dance theory.
Yeah, that's definitely a huge problem. But at the same time, that doesn't excuse the other things that I'm discussing. The fact that the average Gen Zer has tens of thousands of dollars of debt and a degree that they can't pay it off with. That there is this sense of the computer science industry that it's happening that way, that things are happening to them that are making it really difficult for them to be able to find jobs, that my friends get out of college, and I think it's like half of them are getting jobs that don't require college degrees. And the fact that there's a degreeification, that you need a degree for basic things, that it was harder to get recently. This is true. I saw this very recently. It was harder to get a job at Walmart than to get accepted into Harvard undergrad.
What?
I'm not even joking.
Bro, Harvard undergrad's like 6% acceptance rate.
No, it's 3%.
Okay.
They got thousands of applications and only accepted a few people because it is in mass. It is in mass.
Okay, well, go work at Costco then.
Yeah, Costco probably.
Go work at Safeway then.
Also, that's probably like one of those automated job application things where people fill it out.
There's absolutely no way that's true.
No, it is true. I saw. You can look it up online, but those are all things. And so my question
but what's your point in this?
So my point is to say that I think that we are still better off as an absolute level, but I think that we have been promised a vision in terms of being able to get even better, just as good as our parents did, with a level of social mobility that I think has been hindered by several things in the economic world, those being immigration policies, those being the student debt policy, which I think is really, really bad. And also, just as a general matter, I think there's also been a cultural emphasis on degrees and on like seeking out education that is actually not reflected making money.
Not making more money. Yeah.
Exactly. I think we've encouraged people to prioritize wasting away their youth in partying and all this other stuff in exchange for what we now have, which is debt in the future.
Yeah. Sorry,
I talked for a long time there, but what do you think of that?
I think that's all valid. I just kind of look at my generation and I say, you have no one to blame but yourselves. Stop looking at the boomers and saying, you did this to us. Like, yes, there are real problems with our economy. The boomers caused some of those. We have a huge deficit and tax burden from Social Security and Medicare. Like, that is boomer related. We'll talk about the property stuff in just 1 second. But I still talk to people my age. And I'm like, talking about when I want to raise my kids, like if I'm talking to a girl that I'm talking to, and I'll be saying, I'm not convinced that college is like this social good that we believe it to be. Like, I don't really want to encourage my kids to go to college unless they're actually chasing some achievable goal, like being a doctor or being a lawyer or being something that requires a degree, an engineer, a nuclear engineer. That'd be great. Be a nuclear engineer, son. But like, I get pushback from that. But then at the same time, these girls are complaining about how they can't buy a house, how they're in this much debt, how they're blah, 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 blah. It's like, but don't blame anyone for the decisions that you've made to put yourself in this financial position without a high paying job with hundreds of thousands of dollars in student loans if you weren't lucky enough to have your parents pay them off, and then be arguing to me about how it's someone else's fault. That's my problem. It's like, we didn't have to buy into this. And like, I just don't really buy it that like we needed to get degrees. I think that part of the reasons that jobs are looking for degrees now is because the economy is saturated with people who have degrees. It's kind of a self-feeding problem.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they've been pitched as a way to delay adulthood, and I think that's a big sell for them. And then everybody needs one in order to get anywhere, and it's like seen as a human right? It's like, in order for you to be educated and to be informed and independent, you have to have a degree to be reputable in society. And girls will only consider you if you have a certain like number of degrees that are higher or equal to them and just as intelligent, all these other things, right? There's all these problems. We can talk a bit more about that, but I want to pause here and actually mention a story with a friend I ran into, William Scribner. Met this guy this is not going to be that long, at the Vietnam War Memorial. Okay, I ran into a random guy who was much older. He was a boomer. Memorial. And I asked him. I said, I was trying to understand what his diagnosis on the problems of our time were, or my generation specifically, because I asked him for multiple pieces of advice on what he thought was wrong with Gen Z and what he thought was different from his time. And he said these were really useful things. He said back when he was younger, it felt like money was flowing out of everything. Like, it was just everything. I mean, you could go work in a factory and you could feel the money you were making, the fact that you were building up, you're building up an income, you're building up insurance, you're paying for insurance, you're able to like invest in stocks with it, you're able to do everything with it. You're able to see the product of your hands, right? When you're doing that stuff, you felt like there was something coming from your work.
Yeah.
And he also said he felt like there were consequences. There was risk taking. He said, and this was a crazy example, that every year he would lose people in his high school to like car wrecks because they'd speed like crazy. They'd race each other. They didn't have seatbelts. They'd slam into trees and die, and it was crazy, all these high schoolers and stuff. And he loved it. Yeah. Not because he loved the fact that they died. He loved the fact that they took the risks, that they lived the way they did, that they were rebellious. And now he said that like back then there were a lot of divisions between ages. Like there were restaurants. If you were younger, you weren't able to make it into the upper class restaurants because you didn't have the money for it yet. You had to earn your way up there. Now the young people are everywhere all at once, and they own all the spaces, right? I look at that and I'm like, now think about it. What's the product of your hands? It's your Instagram reel that we post from this video, right? That's the product of your hands. That doesn't feel very, very fulfilling. What's the consequence, the risk we're willing to take? We're not willing to take. You realize how many torts we're aware of? Oh yeah, and not just parents to fall back on. They will be upset with us if we go to Israel during a war because it's possible that we get hit by a rocket and get blown up. Yeah, it's true. But also at the same time, man, that's life. We've got to be willing to take risks. And so this is what I will say. I think there is an internal aspect. I think you need to take accountability and live differently. But then you notice the other factor, that is an external change. Our economy has changed in such a fundamental way that it's difficult to interact with as a young person. To sit in a cubicle from 9 to 5, not producing anything, and your sole role is the fact that you're relatable to other young people, your social media account.
I was going to just bring up social media. Do you not think that is also hugely to blame? Because
this is the information side.
I also wonder, right? I gave the example earlier about my grandfather who literally has, well, not literally, but pretty much has never left Bismarck, North Dakota. He was born in a tiny town in upper North Dakota, Streeter, and then he moved to Max, and then he moved to Bismarck. So really never left that state. And I wonder how much of the American dream is achievable if people would stop looking at what other people have in their social circles through social media and just move out to like small town America. Work a job that you're talking about. Like I wonder that for myself too, right? Would I be satisfied living and having a family and living?
Would you do that?
Well, I'm trying to get there. Okay. But like, look, part of us, it's like, I can't afford a home. Well, you could probably afford a home in like, Twin Falls, Idaho, but you can't afford a home in DC where you want to live going out to the friggin' bars every week. So yeah, pay $3,000 a month in rent to live there. I'm sorry. Like, you could probably afford a home, but it's not where you want to live. You could probably afford a home in Bismarck. You could probably afford a home in Butte, Montana, but you don't want to live there.
But again, this is probably...
You want to live in New York City.
This is probably part of the problem. By age 30 in 1970, 91% of women were married by age 30. Okay.
Yeah, women don't.
Do you know what
want
the number
that
is?
anymore.
Do you know what the number is by age 30 now? Can you take a guess?
15.
30%. And that's only going down. It's dropping drastically. Okay. And you know why that matters for your pitch?
Yes.
Why would you ever go live
No,
in
you wouldn't. Not without a
Beaufort,
woman.
Montana, or whatever that freaking place is? Butte, whatever.
It's actually a very beautiful place.
I'm sure it's beautiful, but why would you want to live there if you weren't starting a family there?
Yeah, you wouldn't.
Frankly.
That's actually what I hear from my cousin a lot.
And this is the point.
Like that a woman is not willing to be poor with him and build together. They want...
That's different, though. I'm talking about I wouldn't want to even go there until I've found a wife. Like, I'm not going to find a wife in Butte, Montana. So I'm not going to just go settle down. What's the point of settling down if you don't have a marriage and a family together? That's my thing. And so, I think you're right that people have expectations that are offset. I think that they live in the social media world and they're set on a certain idea of what they're going to get from the world.
I'm just tired of people complaining. I'm tired of people complaining.
I understand you're tired of people complaining, but what I'm saying is that the social media world has had a massive impact on us to the degree that not just, this is something that I think is more internalized to us. We look at the social media and we see as young people, we're like, I want that, I want that, I want that, I want that. And we, above all else, we should be the ones who are most resistant to this crap. I know that we end up being the ones who are most susceptible, but frankly, we work this technology better than anybody else. We know the styles they use. We know the lingo. We know what influencers are like, what they're doing. What's actually possible. We should know better than anybody how fake the online world is. And yet, I think many of us spend our lives living on
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Your friends who are struggling to find jobs,
Yeah.
have they ever been international?
Like
have they traveled?
Yeah, they've traveled.
Great.
Why?
Have they
What do you think?
they got to go to college?
Yeah, they went to college.
And they have freedom of travel. They got the internet. Like, my point is, and it's not a very unique point, again, our grandparents didn't really travel. They didn't have the internet. They didn't have the ability or access sometimes to go to college, to meet new people. Like, we have experiences that our grandparents didn't have. It's a trade-off.
And this is where I'm saying that
we grow up later.
Yeah, but I'm saying this might be the information stuff. I might feel like I'm less socially mobile because I'm able to, because unlike the boomers back in the 1960s who had newspapers to be able to see everything, I can see into the life of the ultra wealthy Athens old money girl, right? Mm-hmm. I can watch her on Instagram as she's going from yacht rides to fashion show, right? Yeah. And be like, I wish that were me. And then I feel like I need to go buy the thing that's very expensive. I need to go take the expensive vacation, and I don't have the money for that.
Yeah.
So there's an aspect of it that is informational, and people, I can see this, that our expectations are offset. But I also think that like social media itself has just unlocked such a can of worms that like it's hard to, I don't know if you can blame anybody, even the person, the individual, fully for it at times.
Social media?
Yeah, I don't think you can just blame even a person. It's just such a monster. And that's where I'm saying, like, I think that has offset our expectations for things, but
I think you can just say no more excuses, just get off of it.
Maybe. I mean, you think that would help with social mobility? You think that would help our generation? You think our generation is falling behind because of social media? Like if they got off?
I think there are these external factors that we talked about, these economic factors that we talked about. Mm-hmm. But I think that in terms of the mind state that social media puts you in, where even if you're growing up in the Great Depression, you're not living with this like comparison mentality of what I think I should have. All you're focused on is like, okay, all this stuff is really crappy around me, but I can only do what I can do to make my circumstances better. And rather than get in this like sucky place where like you're honestly depressed and completely like locked into this victim state, where I see a lot of people who are close to me, like they're not even able to like rise above or think that they can rise above. They're just trapped. I think you have to be a big enough person to recognize what it's going to take for you to break free of those bondages. And I think part of that is maybe getting off social media.
Yeah, and I think also part of this again is the risk culture that I was talking about before.
Yeah,
I think we need to be willing to take more risks. Yeah, I think we need to be more willing to take risks. And part of the reason why we're not willing to do that is because of the expectations that we now have of the world, which is somewhat connected to the information discussion, because I think this is really what the information discussion is about, is our expectations. Mm-hmm. Is that we expect to like not see consequences to our actions. We expect to be able to fail and still have a safety net and a million other things. But the reality is like
participation prize.
No, this is like Dark Knight Rises at the end, where he's like, you've got to do it without a rope. You know, you got to try to make that jump without a safety net. Yeah. And when you do, you've got a much better chance of one, making it, and also two, of getting the true experience of the jump.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big thing to mention.
And I don't really think I've even done that yet.
I mean, I have a safety net all the time.
Yeah.
It's a difficult thing when you
Before you move us along, we haven't talked about housing. We've alluded to it.
Okay, so the housing aspect we'll discuss, and then we're going to get into the relationship side. So housing, this has to do with the more economic?
Yeah, it does.
What about housing is sticking out to you?
Just that it's gone up exponentially.
That is a huge thing. And the average age, this is actually really important to mention. the median age owner over basically all of American history, modern history that is, has been about 30. Okay, it's been about, that's the first age of the first home buyer, excuse me. I believe it is.
Yeah.
Is it first home or is it average home buyer? I can't remember. I think maybe it's home buyer.
Home ownership, 35.
Homeowner, average age owner, whatever.
35, yeah.
35. It's risen in the last few years alone. So you got to understand what that means. That means that throughout all of American history, it's around the same place. Over the past few years, it has increased by like 10 years. So that is insane. You're seeing a huge jump in the median age of a first-time home buyer. And you wonder to yourself, why is that happening? Why is that happening for a second? And it's because, one, COVID had a massive impact on all this stuff. But also, like, the ladder is getting pulled up is what it feels like on young people. And what you mentioned about living in the city, it feels like that's the only opportunity for young people is go to the city. And so if you're going to the city, you know what you're not doing? Buying homes.
I hear that. And yes, it is very true that the median home price has increased 300% since the 1970s.
It's insane.
Which is quite a large figure.
It's great for the boomers.
It is great for the boomers.
They're sitting on all of the value.
They have it. Yes. So housing does really just disproportionately affect, housing price increase disproportionately affects young people more than old people. It's the reason why, like, eliminating property taxes in a state like Florida, something that kind of on the surface sounds great until you think about that would literally then the tax burden would pretty much entirely shift from the maybe older retirees in the state to young working people, because someone still has to pay the taxes for things like, public education. It's not coming from property taxes. It's going to be coming from working wages. People who are buying, sales tax might increase, and that really hurts young people. So yeah, housing is a huge problem here. And like all that I said earlier about buying a house in kind of the middle of nowhere America, I think that's still true. I mean, I was shocked. Even I do think there's an aspect to this that, again, we as Gen Z, we are very spoiled by choice and by ideal situations rather than just livable situations. That happens with our degrees, that happens with our families, with the girls that we choose. I think it also happens with a home. Like, I was in DC this summer, and while I cannot afford a home in Cap Hill or Bethesda like maybe the boomers could have 50 years ago, I can very reasonably afford a home in Mount Rainier or what's that other place? Tacoma Hill?
Yep.
Like these kind of like little northeast DC / Maryland areas. The only problem is when I tell my young friends about those neighborhoods, they're like,
I'm not living there.
I don't want to freaking live there.
Yeah.
Like, that's too far from the city. Like, what am I doing? And then all of a sudden they're also complaining about how they're spending $3,000 a month.
Yeah, which is insane. And they're spending 40% of their income on rent.
But I'm going to buy a house for $400K. No joke. You can look it up. Go look it up, guys. Mount Rainier.
And buy the house that he's planning to buy.
Yeah.
But I agree. I think that these are all issues. I really want to wrap this up with the big one now.
Yeah.
It's
girls.
It's the girls.
All right.
And this is the thing.
But do you not have any thoughts on my home stuff?
I mean, your home stuff is great.
Would you want to live in Mount Rainier?
No. Dude, I completely understand where people are coming from. They want to live in a nice area. They want to immediately spawn up because they don't want to work for the things that they have to get. That's it. And I say that as somebody who doesn't want to work for the things he has to get. I understand that. That impulse is like deep inside me as a Gen Zer. And I don't know if it's everyone who feels the same way, but I really feel entitled. I really feel lazy as a Gen Zer. And that doesn't mean that I don't think that like I'm not going to work, or I worked really hard. I worked really hard to get in Harvard Law School. I've worked really hard at Harvard Law School. I've done a lot of stuff, whatever. But at the same time, like I fundamentally think of myself and I'm like, I don't know if I could do I don't know how well I'm going to do the 8 to 5, you know? That's difficult.
Yeah.
So
I even think about, my parents started very, very, very humbly, and they've worked their way up. And like once you grow up kind of like, and I didn't grow up wealthy, but I grew up at least middle class, and then as my dad continued to work his butt off, upper middle class. Wow. I kind of like have an expectation now that like that's what I'll do. But my dad certainly didn't start there, and his dad certainly didn't start there,
no,
right?
Definitely not.
So why do I have the expectation that all of a sudden I'm going to be there, and now that I'm 28, I'm just going to be complaining about how I'm not there and the system's against me?
You got to work for it. I agree.
Does no good to anybody.
Well, but then let's consider this with guys and girls thing, because I think that you got to work for it really applies.
Don't touch me on this.
Sorry. I think that the you got to work for it applies very much so with the third prong, which is why there is just such a division between young men and women. Why there's so many fewer marriages. There's less sexual activity even.
Yeah.
There's less everything in terms of between the sexes interaction.
Yeah.
What do you think is causing that then? Do you think it's the same stuff that we're talking about here, that it's the same sort of falling behind, like all the other factors of economic opportunities and expectations? Or is it just that we're like socially awkward?
I think it's probably social media.
Yeah, probably. Honestly,
social media. On the men's side, it's probably porn.
Yes.
Easy access to porn. That has definitely increased or decreased sexual activity among men and women, which, is like one indicator of the broader relationship dynamic. But social media is certainly very harmful. I think if we were going to look at the women's side of things, I would maybe just throw out expectations or entitlement.
I mean, I have seen some of the most obnoxious content in my entire life liked by many of my female friends over the past few weeks, and I think Instagram is feeding it to me because they knew it pissed me off. It's like, I'm so like the numbers of women having children who want to have children have dropped by 50%, and it's like showing all the different numbers and things, and there's all these women who don't want to get married anymore, and it shows the numbers, and they're like, let's go ladies, and it's all these girls liking it, like, thank God we figured out that we need to just be independent. And then there's reels like, men had to start competing for us over personality rather than with riches and jobs, and all of a sudden they're all single, right? And all the girls are liking it, like the men are just such worthless pieces of crap. And I look at this stuff and I'm just like, you guys are destroying civilization. Destroying civilization. Just like I look at the men and I say, you're not taking responsibility for your actions. You're not giving up on pornography. You're not doing all these other things. I blame them for that crap too. But like, my gosh, with the girls, that mentality, they have been eaten alive by woke feminism, which has sold them the most insane lie. I don't understand how you can be told this as a human being, that it is somehow morose for you. It's somehow negative for you to have a child. Do you realize what a blessing from God a child is? What a blessing from God it is to hold another human being in your arms who is your offspring? How propagandized do you have to be to get to that? I'm sorry, I don't mean to go in such a diatribe. It just is insane to me. So.
Well said. I mean, yes, it's very sad. It's very backwards. Yeah, it's against our created nature, I think, as well. Men and women were meant to get together and raise families together. It's part of, I think, God's design for men and women both. So,
do you think there's anything else causing this divide in the relationships besides just like expectations and pornography?
So yeah, again, pornography on the men's side, I think, and probably like radical feminism on the women's side.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so then the question is,
that is all fueled by social media.
So we've covered all three then. We've talked about the economic opportunities, the fact that we are still doing well, but we don't have nearly the same level of opportunity, and also relatively, we may not end up making adjusted for inflation, all those other things, the same amounts at the same period of time. Social mobility has decreased. We talked about information, social media causing all these problems. Then we discussed the fact that the relationships are also collapsing. My last question to close this out: what do we do about it?
Well, I've already hit on this a lot this episode.
Okay, then round it out.
Why don't you tackle the political solutions to this?
Okay.
Maybe the relational solutions. My answer, as always, for the layperson, for someone not involved in politics, which you largely can't control because it doesn't represent you anymore. It's a largely executive branch, one person, power in all things. You don't have a vote anymore. We need to increase the House of Representatives for this very reason. Anyway, I will just say you can't control what you can't control, and you can what you can. And so get your head down. Get off social media, stop looking around at other people, and just look at yourself. And don't buy into lies that maybe you need to have a certain style of life to be happy or live in a certain place to be happy. Don't be afraid to take risks, branch out, go start a new life somewhere else, find a girl there. Maybe she's not going to be as pretty as someone in New York City. Maybe she's not going to be as accomplished as someone in New York City, but she's probably going to be just fine. And so go start a new life. Don't look around. Focus on yourself.
That was great. I think that's beautiful. I agree with most of this. I'm going to say
except the House of Representatives.
I'm going to say the other thing. Okay?
Yes, sir.
I think that everything you want to get, you have to work for. And I'm going to say this in the sense of, that doesn't mean that it's an equal scale in our country of you put in work, you get this much payout. Sometimes you put in a lot of work and you get very little payout. Sometimes your friend goes and buys a lottery ticket at the local gas station and wins it big.
Yep.
Sometimes that's how it works. That's life. It's unfair. But my thought process as a person who I think needs to work harder, I think I need to do more on this front. I'm definitely not the best representative of it, but I really think that Gen Z as a fundamental issue, we just don't want to work for what we want. We don't want to work for what we want. We want it to be given to us, just like everybody wants, right? Everybody wants it to be given to us. That doesn't mean it's all the way true. There are men out there, they're young Gen Z men, I think, are really very innovative. They're fastidious. They're intrepid about themselves. They're very interesting. I like them. I think they've got a lot of potential. But the point is to say that that is a general weakness in our generation. So for the economic opportunities, you have to really strive to actually climb ladders. You have to strive to apply to jobs. And it's difficult to do that right now. It's really difficult. For information, you have to be willing to take breaks from social media. You have to be willing to vet the things things you receive. You have to be willing to follow and unfollow certain people or get rid of it entirely. And for relationships, oh my gosh, you've got to be intentional in ways that none of us want to be intentional. And this is my fundamental thing. I think that's it. I think there is ample opportunity in the United States still. I think there have been many lies sold to us in terms of what we can and can't do to be able to get to success. But I think those pathways are still wide open. Listen, the reality is the boomers are going to die. And who's going to inherit their stuff? They're not going to just pass it directly to Gen X. It's going to all of their opportunities, this stuff, this world, especially with the AI boom, there are chances for us, and we should take advantage of them. And I say this in complete exhaustion, as Will just pointed out. Yeah. I am tired as ever, but I mean this from my heart.
And we're out here exemplifying hard work.
Yeah, hard
and
work.
Drive, staying up late, doing a podcast.
Grinding on the podcast.
To make money. That's why we're doing it.
And also just...
Are you making any money off this yet?
No, totally not.
You promise?
We're not making
any
money.
To me?
Yeah, we're not making any money.
You mentioned revenue earlier tonight.
Yeah, we're not making any revenue.
He's pocketing all the money.
We're not making any revenue off this, to my knowledge. And also, as a side note here, I think as a spiritual health point, it's kind of helpful to...
we didn't talk about church at all during this.
Yeah, I would say it's probably helpful for Gen Z to become more Christian to be able to overcome some of this stuff.
Absolutely.
But, that's a topic for another time.
No, may I just add? While you were talking there, I was thinking, what if people just critique that, like, oh, Will's this blind optimist? But then I was thinking, I kind of am an optimist. Like, I've had setbacks in life. I've had things not go my way or my ideal way, right? You know.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like burdened down by narratives that are outside my control. I really feel like, just do what you can do. And I think that like, to tie it into Christianity so that I can claim to be a good Christian at the end of this, I think that probably does come from my faith. But the only thing, like I say over and over again, the only thing that God requires of me is to, like, know his voice and follow him. Part of that is just working hard with what he's given me and doing my best and not worrying about things that are outside of my control. Because like Mason said, the world is not, we're never guaranteed a fair world. We're actually guaranteed as Christians the opposite. We're guaranteed persecution for our faith. I'm not saying that I'm facing that kind of persecution here, but just, the world is going to be hard. The world is going to suck. And God isn't requiring that I achieve any certain level of success.
We're not guaranteed the American dream, that's for sure.
Be faithful with the little things that he's given me. And I think maybe that's why I'm able to be more content and not, like, have a discontented spirit with the way the world is.
Amen. I appreciate that. All right. Let us know what you think on this topic. It's an intense one, so we'd love to hear more. But Happy New Year regardless. I still have faith in our generation. Favorite time of the week?
Girl problems. Wait.
We're not doing that anymore. That? We did. We replaced it. Yeah.
Approach the bench and ask your girl problems.
I didn't listen to
Although
the episode.
I don't know if people are actually going to like the new one. Let us know, please, again, if you like this little snippet.
They already
like
let Mason. Nice. I don't get why you didn't trust yours the first time.
I think that opening, listen, after watching the video, just skipping forward to girl problems and seeing in episode 10 us three guys. Imagine you're a young man, you pull up and it's just three guys going girl problems like that. I was like, okay, I would click away from this.
Sure.
So I think we just have to. Okay, so first off,
I'm not going to sing it anymore.
We have a question that came up today. Yeah, probably not. Sorry. We had a question that came up today that I really
from one of our listeners.
This was from me when I was talking with them.
You can't say that though.
No, we were debating this at the bar, and I was like, "This is such an interesting question." Okay, do you think you can tell a girl to take Ozempic to lose weight? If you're like at what point in a relationship?
At what point in the relationship?
At what point in a relationship can you say that? Because I don't think probably random girl off the side of the street, probably not gonna. Okay,
we could make the argument that would be a social good.
It is probably. I mean, in China it's common.
Men, everyone.
In China, they walk up to you, they go, "You need to lose weight."
Because wait, first of all, let me just address from a purely economic standpoint, right?
Okay.
Being obese, the obesity rates in America are a huge suck on Medicare and Medicaid, the government spending on insurance, everything. It's not just about, don't lose your minds over body shaming right now. Being fat is unhealthy. It's super expensive for a country. And so this is why Trump is pushing Ozempic.
For everybody.
Right?
For lower cost.
Because it is way cheaper to get rid of the problem up front than deal with all of the health ramifications later on. Okay?
Yes.
So it's not just about us body shaming you and saying that curves are not beautiful.
Yeah, well, this is a deeper thing, though. Like, at what point can you actually tell her this? Because, I don't know, man. I think it's important that you be able to express your thoughts about your preferences in a relationship. Like, if a girl came up to me and said, hey, I wish I really would date you, but, I just wish you were a little stronger, maybe. I would probably be like, first off, that girl's a little too superficial. If she just walks up to me off the side of the street, probably not worth it.
Right.
If she's immediately like, I need you to have better abs or something, that's probably a bad side. But if we're like 10 dates in and she's like, I'm used to guys being a little stronger, I'd be like, All right, I'll get stronger.
And you really like her, right?
Yeah.
You really like her, and she really likes you.
But I don't think
And basically, she's saying that like the holdup for me right now is like, I wish you were a little more in shape.
Yeah, I wish you'd care for yourself a little bit
Yeah.
more.
Then yes, I think I would be like, wow, okay, like
Yes.
kind of stings. But
we
if
gotta
I
get
really
better.
like the girl, then I'll put in the work.
But we got
for her.
better. But the thing that I've been told, though, is that the girl will never forgive you if you tell that to her.
She'll never
She
forget.
will never forget it, and she will forever feel like she's fat, even if she loses all that weight.
Probably.
So what do you do then? What happens if, like, your girl, I don't know, I mean, it's classic examples after marriage, but I mean, like, as a girlfriend, what happens if that is the thing that's really starting to kind of unnerve you, is that she's not caring very well for her body? You should be able to say something.
So unfortunately, and this will get me in trouble, I'm sure, but I have always held the opinion that, like, you know, I just try to be very upfront with girls that I'm talking to or seriously dating that, you know, even when we're married, like, body is very important. And I think,
Whoa.
like yes.
When do you say this? Like, at what point in the relationship?
Pretty early. First couple dates, man. Wow. I just want to know in this day and age that I'm not dealing with a body positivity woman.
Wow.
Because yes, I realize that women's bodies change over time and change with kids.
Do you, like,
and all
plop the
these things.
Ozempic bottle down on the
No,
table as you say
listen.
this?
It's not. I'm not saying like I don't want you to ever change how you look. It's just like, you know, as much as I feel, as I've called fat married men out on this podcast.
You have.
I was reminded of that just the other weekend by a listener. I've called fat married men out. I'll call fat married women out too. Like, I think it's important that you take care of your body for your spouse. Your body is no longer your own. This is Bible, right? Your body is no longer your own. It belongs to your spouse.
But I mean,
it is
also,
for their
yes,
benefit and their good. And
yes,
so
but
if you are getting fat, and that is like, it would be very hard for me to be dating with someone who's like, or married to someone who's totally letting themselves go.
Yes, but we're also, you got to keep in mind too, there's a sacrificial aspect of love, right? And so, like, maybe at some point you need to let go of that desire to, like, be with a perfectly fit woman if you love her dearly.
I'm not
and
saying
also,
she needs
isn't
to
it a
be
red flag for
perfectly
her?
fit.
Isn't it a red flag for her for you to be like, honey or darling or girlfriend, I need you to get on Ozempic because you're a little too chubby for me? Especially girlfriend. That's kind of, there's probably a red flag there as a guy. No?
To be honest, like, I think it depends a lot on the guy that you're dealing with. To be honest, though, like, I don't care about looks solely, but they are, I'm not going to lie, they are important. They're important to, I think, any guy. Like, even your wife. Like, I just think it's how we're wired, man. We're wired to be physically, like, turned on by a beautiful woman. And so I think it's important that at least there's some effort. I'm not saying perfection. I'm not saying skinny your whole life. I'm just saying, like, effort, you know?
My goodness.
You don't disagree with me. You're okay if your wife gets fat?
Yes, I'm okay if my wife gets fat.
Like, big, dude. Like, you know, big
I would hope
Mason.
that she's okay with me getting fat too, but I would also...
I don't hope she's okay with me getting fat.
I would also hope that she would encourage me to fight against that, just like I'd encourage her to fight against it. But I also understand that sometimes things change and people go through difficult times.
Well, if
and
we're
I would
talking
love
like
her
a
through
medical
it.
disease or a disability that arises, like, obviously I'm okay with that. I'm just saying, all things being equal, we're both perfectly healthy. I don't want her to be okay with me getting fat, and I don't want to be okay with her getting fat. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Don't hold me to the same standard, but, like, I'm not okay with it.
Yeah, and I think if you talk with her very clearly about this, you set clear expectations, then maybe that makes sense. Mm-hmm. I'd be more okay with that. What do you guys think about telling a woman to take Ozempic?
But pause. We haven't finished it yet.
What do you want to go further?
Where would you tell her?
When I think is the best time, I think marriage for sure is the best time if you're going to tell a girl. But even then, you have to be very careful on how you handle it.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it's basically impossible to handle it really well. I mean, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, I just don't think a girl would ever take it well. No. I just don't think she would ever take it well.
They wouldn't. And to your point on it being a red flag, it is certainly a red flag. It's a red flag
for sure.
No. Amongst many guys, but not me. You know? And I mean that genuinely. I don't think
I'm so tired. I'm barely rolling my eyes.
Because
but, like, oh my God.
young Mason here gets a lot of flack on this podcast for being, you know, purely physically focused. But I think at the end of the day, we all know that he's not.
That's
that
true.
He has a heart for things that matter as well. So do I. And I'm just saying, like, but looks are very important as well. And so, you know, I think it would be a red flag for most men, but not these men.
Amen. Okay, next question. This is a classic. Can guys and girls be friends? People have been waiting on this one.
Yeah, they have. I think the answer is no.
What?
No. I mean, I think yes, generally speaking. Guys and girls can be friends.
I think you're a bad testament to this.
Because I have no girlfriends?
You are a serial flirter. This is 100% true. So I think you can be guys and girls can be friends if the guy is not a serial flirter. And
or the girl.
Or the girl.
I'm not a serial flirter.
You are. I'm sorry.
I a serial flirt?
It is the truth, and you don't need to do it always purposefully, but even in the way that we sometimes when we're talking, hang out with girls, I'm like,
on this trip?
Yes.
On this trip?
Even on this trip, yes.
Every girl on this trip is in a relationship.
That's the point, though. I'm not saying that you're trying to flirt with them. I'm saying you use flirt dynamics with your friends who are girls. I'm sorry, bro. I know it's a big thing to deal with, but I do the same thing often. I do the same thing often, too, but it's just the truth. And I think this is part of the problem. This is part of what makes it difficult for guys and girls to be friends, is that inherently the closer that we become in relationships, the more likely it is that we become attracted to each other. Does that mean that you're going to fall? Does that mean you're going to fall? Absolutely not. So it is not impossible for girls and guys to be friends, in my view. It is not impossible. It's not necessarily even that difficult for girls and guys to be friends. But it is still a challenge of sorts. And it's something that people have to be aware of because there's that landmine out there somewhere in the distance in your journey of relationship. And if you step on it, my oh my.
Well, I think the question is different if you are in a relationship or if the other person's in a relationship, and especially if you're married.
Interesting.
Like, certainly, I think I'd encourage single people to have many guy and girl friends. You know, because I think that's the best way to find someone to date, to be honest. I'm kind of old school in that way.
Kind of proving the point.
It is kind of proving the point. But, like, it doesn't mean that you're going to find that or flirt with everyone like that.
Yeah.
And I just think that, you know, guys and girls can be friends, objectively speaking. Is it wise to have a close girlfriend if you are also married or in a serious dating relationship? Maybe not. Yeah. Because there will be that tendency to, like, I think attraction is very natural among men and women. And so it can build over time. But I think they can be friends and good friends and not date necessarily. And I think it depends a lot on the context of the friendship too. Like I mentioned the IDF soldiers earlier, you know, men and women serving together, frontline soldiers, like they might never be, you know, physically or romantically attracted to each other, but arguably they will be friends in whatever capacity that looks like forever.
There's a lot of nuance here. I will just say that
Can we talk more about the bold accusation that you just made that I've been flirty with girls on this trip?
I think you've been I think you're flirty as a general matter.
Am I flirty with guys?
Kind of too. I think you have the same attitude towards them.
Yeah.
I think you are, and just I think it's your personality. It's flirtatious.
It's my conversion narrative.
Yeah, but I think it's just, dude, that means that you are flirting though with the girl still. The flirty personality. It's just the reality. I'm sorry, bro. I hear about this all the time. It's just the reality.
But from me?
I'm not gonna
hear about this with me all the time.
I'm not gonna get into details. I'm just
sorry
saying,
that you're seeing something that doesn't exist.
It does exist.
It does not exist.
It does exist.
It does not exist.
It does exist. It doesn't. It's
I'm
not necessarily
an outgoing,
a bad thing.
kind, charismatic, attractive.
There's nothing wrong
beautiful,
with being. There's nothing
smart,
wrong with being more
intelligent,
outgoing. There's
humble.
nothing wrong with being more charismatic. There's nothing wrong with ultimately being a little more flirty. It's just a character trait. Okay.
I think that JFK. I think that most presidents have probably been flirty people.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Trump famously so.
I think you have every reason to believe that. Mm-hmm. Like it makes you feel better.
You don't think JFK was a flirty guy?
I think JFK was certainly a flirty guy.
He was.
Yes.
And Joe Biden loved to sniff children's ears.
Oh, that's weird. We don't need to get into that. And I don't know if you want to compare yourself to that.
No, I don't.
So I will just say be careful about that. Girls and guys, you can be friends. It's just a little difficult. Okay? It's a little difficult and you got to be cautious, and it tends to be the case that the guy's going to fall for the girl.
And also write in if you think that I give off the vibe of being flirty.
Yeah, let us know.
And if you've had personal experience with this, submit an anonymous, like, voice dubbed, like, change your voice, submit an anonymous note to us. Because I'm really curious about this accusation. I feel like
submit an anonymous note on our anonymous form.
I didn't know that's how it worked. I don't manage those things, but that would be great. If you've had experience with being led on by me, write in and let us know.
Write in.
But I feel like I dealt with that in high school. But I felt like I've gotten better at it.
Interesting.
But guess not.
All right. You ready for the last topic?
No, I'm depressed.
Probably gonna go
no, you're so fine. Don't feel that way. That was not meant to be like, that's not an insult. That's just a reality. It's a character trait. Mm-hmm. Okay. The last one, resolutions for the new year. Okay, for relationships.
But not us.
Not
us.
Our
resolution, boys.
For you.
We're going to talk about resolutions for our relational people out there, aka people we're going to go with marriages, but also committed relationships, long-term relationships.
How can you be changing your behavior?
Here are resolutions for you. And then we're also, as Mason loves to do, we're going to take some agency away from the women viewers and give you our 2026 resolutions for our 2026
women. Resolutions for women.
Wait. It's actually pretty messed up that we're going to do. We should do a guy one too then.
You think we should do guy one too?
We should.
All right, we'll do one for guys too, just so we don't look
2026
sexist.
resolutions for
guys
and women
and one with
couples.
relationships.
All right, let's do one each.
One for relationships. I think the biggest thing I'm putting on married couples relationships next year is not being so judgy of people who aren't in relationships.
That's good.
Because I've gotten a lot of that in the podcast.
A tie back to an
of
earlier
like, this is the
episode.
reason why you're like this, and it's like
tie
no.
back to an earlier episode would be to help us find partners.
Yes,
Remember
help us
that?
find, but that can be your resolution.
That's not mine.
What's yours?
My resolution, unsurprisingly, after this episode is if you feel convicted that you have let your body go, to get out there and work it off.
Okay. Should we do men or women next?
Let's do men.
Okay, men. For the men out there, my resolution for you is to get really good at one thing this next year.
Nice.
And the reason I say that is because it's really good for men to have a thing. I think it's a sign of maturity. And I also think that it's a good outlet for some of our kind of autistic fascinations that are natural to who we are. Women don't understand it. But I promise you it's a useful thing. Just find one thing and apply yourself maximally.
Cool. My resolution for men for 2026 is to wash your feet in the shower. And I say this as an example, and I don't know if I've talked about it on the podcast before, but because early on in Mason and I's friendship, I learned that
I do wash my feet in the shower.
He did not wash his feet for many years
until I dated.
Girlfriend.
Yes, until I dated.
And he was like, "Why do your feet never stink?" or something like that, or
no, that is not what I said. That's crazy. That is. I said that my feet always stink, and it was like, what is going on? It was two reasons. One, I was reusing socks.
Okay.
Which I learned is not okay, apparently. Okay, apparently that's not okay. And number two, I wasn't washing my feet in the shower.
Okay, great. So
now I do. I don't reuse socks, and I do wash my feet in the shower.
The bigger reason that I'm saying men 2026 is your year to wash your feet in the shower is just a broader point about taking care of your hygiene more, putting more effort into how you look and how you present yourself. I think that's a great thing that we can all do. I think that Gen Z is fallen back into this kind of like, I'm just going to wear whatever I want mentality. We don't care about how we look as much. But it is bad to not change your socks. It is bad to not wash your feet. It is bad to not have decorations in your room. Like, put little effort into things that make a more complete man out of you.
I agree.
And one of those things is definitely washing your feet, along with many others.
Amen.
Vacuum your house, dust your house, clean your bathroom, clean your shower. Take ownership over the little things, and I think that'll really help you when it comes to finding the right spouse.
That's a great line. I really like that. You want to do resolutions for women? Clear it up?
Let's do it.
You want to go first this time? You want me to go first?
No, I think let's stay. You go first. Unless you don't have one. I need to
All right. No. I always have one. You know me.
You do.
My resolution for women in 2026 is to vote Republican in the 2026
That's basically what I was going to say, honestly. Yep.
I think that this is a great idea, not only because it'll get you more opportunities in terms of dating, but also because it's just the generally right thing to do. And I think it would improve your happiness scores.
I agree.
And your mental well-being. So I highly recommend doing that. For 2026.
My resolution actually was going to be very similar, and I mean, I might be. This wind is crazy.
Yeah.
I might be coming from a little bit of bias because if you haven't been able to tell yet, we're both more conservative. I would just say 2026 resolution for women is to be more conservative.
Amen.
I think it would make you much more attractive, easier to date, and I'm not telling you, as I've said on this podcast before, that you have to give up all of your kind of more liberal tendencies, but I am just telling you to move a little further to the right. Put Trump aside. Forget about the big, mean, green, orange man or whatever.
Think about love.
And just focus on some of the values that you have, and that how those could align with conservative values. Because I'm really tired of playing this like little tiptoey game around all these liberal issues. It's driving me nuts with these women in 2025.
We love you guys, though.
It's
been a good year.
I'm just kidding.
Happy New Year on this new year. God bless you going into it. As you can tell, I can barely keep my eyes open. I am exhausted. I mean, these bags on my eyes are insane.
But he's not sleeping here tonight. Don't you worry.
No, I'm going down to my room.
But look, it's been a great year. We've become much more intimate through the course of 2025. I don't really want to touch you on this bed.
Oh, shaking hands.
I'll shake your hand.
Hey, God bless you.
2026.
Here is to 2026. It's been a good time. We love you above all else, honestly. And we appreciate that you guys watch it, especially when we're exhausted and lying on some random bed in Israel.
Yep. So here's to a new year and many more episodes to come.
And remember, you can submit feedback to us via the links in our bio or email us at approachthebenchquestions@gmail.com.
Thanks, guys.
Jesus loves you.
Happy New Year.